Alright, hi there. I have just bought this atlas, this old Soviet atlas. I bet you don't have this kind of stuff, so let me guide you through it and show you what we've got here. It was published in 1940. It was the Stalin's time. The World War II had already begun, but the Soviet Union was not involved in it yet. Here's the physical map of the world. Well, a little has changed. You see all the continents, oceans, but yeah, the Antarctica's coastline was not that known back then, but we'll get to it later. And this is where the shit gets complicated. This atlas was published in quite a transitional time in history. It was the peak of the colonialism, and the political map changed very fast. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of interesting details. You recognize most of the countries, but there are a lot of nuances we're gonna get through. We'll see what has changed, and this is what was in 1940. The time zones, well, let's skip the boring stuff. Leningrad, which is how St. Petersburg was called back then, on the honor of Lenin, of course. And here's the first specific map, the northwest part of Russia and Soviet Union. This Novaya Zemlya archipelago, it was going to experience the most powerful human-made explosion in just a decade, the Tsar Bomba testing. And here are the lands near the Volga River, called Povolzhye. This area is the German Autonomous Republic. Actually, my ancestors were from there, my grandmother. This autonomous region was formed for the old German settlers that came here in 18th century. And when the Nazi Germany attacked Soviet Union, all these people were evacuated to Kazakhstan, like 1,000 miles to the east. The Soviet government feared that these people would collaborate with the Germans. It was pretty dark time, so yeah, let's move on. And here's the far east of Russia and USSR. Notice that Sakhalin was half Japanese, half Russian. This island used to have a massive population of the Ainu people, a peculiar ethnic group which are actually closer to the Australian indigenous people than to Japanese. And here's my motherland, Ukraine, Ukrainian Socialist Soviet Republic back then. And this part is West Ukraine, which had just rejoined the main part of the Ukrainian ethnic area the year before in 1939, which was a condition of the Molotov-Ribbentrop pact concluded by USSR and Nazi Germany, which was basically a partition of Poland and the sphere of influence in East Europe. So the West Ukraine went to Ukrainian Republic, as well as the West Belarus went to Belarus. And also the Baltic republics were forced to join USSR. And this is a newborn republic of the Soviet Union, Karel-Finnish Republic. It was formed the very year this atlas was published, as the result of the Finnish-Soviet War. It served as some kind of a buffer between Russia and Finland. It was an artificial entity to an extent, and it ceased to exist in 15 years when the Soviet-Finnish relationship got warmer. So for this brief period of time, the Soviet Union consisted of not 15 but 16 republics. Did you know that? This is the Central Asia, all the countries are republics of USSR. And here's the region where all the people, German people from Povolzhye, were relocated. This is where my grandmother, her parents lived, and my mother was born. I have been to Kazakhstan like 10 or 12 times. 3 full days on the train. Finally, here's the Europe. You see the Great Britain, the map of London, Paris, the fascist Italy. They used to be slightly bigger, but these areas went to Croatia, to Yugoslavia after the World War II. And here's the Nazi Germany as of 1940 that had eaten Poland, Czechia, and Austria. Actually, these annexed territories are called in this atlas the area of national interest of Germany. Yeah, it was going to expand a little bit soon. And we move on to Asia. Here's the China and Taiwan, Formosa back then, which was part of Japanese Empire. The whole Korean peninsula was under Japanese control. This was the wartime. And you see, the Manchuria region was formerly Chinese, but you see that it's outlined brown, which means that it's annexed by the Japanese Empire. And this is the Mongolian People's Republic, which is oftentimes considered another republic of the USSR, but it was never part of the Soviet Union. And here's another small independent country, Tuva People's Republic, which actually joined the Soviet Union in just a year or two. And here's Indonesia, Indo-Chinese, Malay peninsulas, still almost completely colonized by respectively Netherlands, France. Yeah, and here's the British India, such a massive colony. And it's still pretty unbelievable to me that the entire subcontinent and beyond, with such a massive population, was controlled by such a small country. But you know that India got independence in 7 years. And here's the African continent, almost entirely colonized. Only 3 independent countries, Liberia, Ethiopia, Egypt. The rest was colonized by France, Britain, Spain, Portugal, and also Italy. Australia, still part of the British Empire. And here's New Zealand. We don't forget you. We know you there. The North America. Both Iceland and Greenland were Danish. Alaska and Hawaii were not the states of the US yet. And you see that Newfoundland was separate from Canada. It was another entity of the British Empire. The Central America, mostly independent, but still some colonies remained. Here's the USA. Nothing has changed on the mainland of the USA, so we move on. The cities you sure know. Finally, the South America. The map looks almost the same as the modern map, but there are 3 major differences. You see that Guyana was a kind of 3-part colony, 1 British, 1 Dutch and 1 French. Now it's only the French Guyana. The second difference is the border of Ecuador and Peru. This disputed area is basically jungle, but Ecuador needed it to get to the Amazon River, and thus to Atlantic. But Peru said, nope, we won't give it to you. And the dispute has been solved only recently. And the third difference is here. Bolivia and Paraguay border. This area is called Chaco, and it was believed to have massive deposits of oil, but actually none was discovered until like 10 years ago. But still it sparked a conflict between these 2 countries. You see, here it's a dotted straight line, which means that the border was not defined. But it actually had been defined at that moment. But it looks like the Soviet mappers didn't know about it. There was no internet back then to have these instant news and updates. Let's have a quick look at Antarctica before we end. Antarctica was not so explored yet. Most of the coastline was dotted. And it also lacks a few big pieces of land, specifically the Berkner Island, which is the largest island of Antarctica. It was discovered only in 1957, I guess, and it was actually the last major piece of land discovered by humans. So yeah, that's it. If you want more old Soviet maps, let me know. It was GeoHead. See you in next videos. Bye!